This is the first part of the 9-2 lecture, where in the previous section we had learned about the basics of a test of significance. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to explore how to execute a significance test using the four-step process, and we're going to focus on uh, a test for population proportion. Um, we should be at the end of this feel really, really comfortable about getting everything on the page that we need to get a perfect score on the AP exam on a problem of this type. Um, Remember that all of the stuff that we're doing is revolving about the idea of inference, meaning that we're taking a sample, but then trying to make a claim about a population. So, for example, someone makes the claim that they're 80% free throw shooter. Um, we take a sample of that player's throws, and they made 32. The sample proportion is 64%, and that's much lower than 80%. But by chance that 84 is it by chance that they only made 84%, or is it something making us believe that the claim of 80% shooting is actually incorrect? We talked about in the previous example or in the previous section how the H naught and HA claims. First one is that there is nothing special going on, that the population proportion is 80%, and our alternate uh, condition is that, our alternate hypothesis is that no, we really think that he's less than an 80% shooter. Um, like we did with confidence intervals, we have conditions that need to be met in order to do the this method. The conditions as they were before are still, we need to have an unbiased sample, which means we need to know that it's a random sample. We need to know that the sampling distribution from which our p hat comes from is approximately normal, which is in this case comparing the expected number of of made shots, which in this case is 40, not the 32 that he made, but rather we're supposing H naught is true. We're supposing that the proportion of shots made is 80%. So we'll use that proportion. So 40 is greater than 10, and n times 1 minus p, which is 20% of 50 is 10, and 10 is greater than 10. So we meet the normal conditions. And then lastly, we need to know that uh, outcome, the outcome is independent. We might do that with a 10% condition. If it, indeed we think that is a simple random sample of all possible shots, do we think it's reasonable to think that he took at least 500 free throw shots, and we think that is a safe condition. All right, let's go on to the next page. We see and we remember that the idea is that that p hat, that one value is actually a member of the sampling distribution of p hat. And we know, assuming H naught is true, that the center of that distribution would be at zero point 0.8. We'd also know that the sampling distribution has a standard deviation of, square root p1 minus p over n, of about 5%. And so if you imagine going up one standard deviation, about 5.66%, you can see where that one standard deviation mark is. And here we are way down at 6.4. Um, Now, while I could directly calculate the probability of being in this little tail right there. The College Board requires, and statistical professions require, the calculation of something called the test statistic. The test statistic in this case is going to be a z value. In general, a test statistic is found by taking a statistic, subtracting a parameter, and then dividing by the standard deviation of the statistic. Um, and this test statistic is going to tell us how far away, positively or negatively, is our outcome from what was expected. So let's compute that test statistic. So we have that the z value is going to be a statistic. And remember that the p hat value was 64, sorry, 32 over 50, which is 0.64. So our statistic is at 0.64. Our parameter is the parameter given in the null hypothesis, 0.80. And the standard deviation of the statistic was that zero point 0.8 times 1 minus zero point 0.8 over the 50 shots. And if we throw that into a calculator, we end up getting negative 2.83. That we're below average. That's not a surprise, but we are almost 3 standard deviations below average. Let's take a look at what that looks like in terms of the sampling distribution. So here again, we are sampling distribution centered at zero point 0.8, standard deviation of that 0.0566, and there we are at 64%. And here's that little bit of the tail, and there's that p-value. Wow, the p-value is 0.0023, so less than half of a percent. Now, this is all true, but the College Board would like you to think about it in terms of this z distribution. Now, the z distribution centered, sorry, the z distribution standard is centered at 0, has a standard deviation of 1, and I don't know why that's hopping around like that. And we have this test statistic, and we get the same p-value back out. They would like you to do those two steps to convert the outcome to the test statistic and then use the test statistic to find the value of the p-value, right? So in this case, we've got that the test statistic is negative 2.83, and then we're ready to use Desmos to convert that into a p-value. So let me bring up Desmos. There's Desmos. And let's go ahead and type in what we normally do, that we have a normal distribution with a center of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. And we are very interested in finding cumulative probability, this time left-hand side, with the z value of negative 2.83. And we can see that we got 0.002. We really would like it to have 4 decimal places, 0.0023, 0.0023. Now, based on what we talked about in the previous section, that p-value is really quite low. We think it represents really, really strong evidence that the H naught claim is not true and the HA claim must be true. That is, we reject the idea that he's an 80% shooter, and we say we have evidence to suggest that he's not an 80% shooter. Let's talk about all of this in the context of a problem. Where are we? Here we are. So what are we doing? We're doing this one sample z-test for population proportion. We are setting ourselves up by creating that H naught claim, finding a p-value, and then comparing that p-value to some alpha value. Remember that there's 3 different alternate hypotheses, and sometimes we'll be looking whether the z value we're above that z value or below that z value or to the outside of the z value and its opposite. So simply know that we're going to do that probability step. And remember, we must meet the conditions, for this test by checking for unbiased, by seeing a random sample, checking independence, by knowing that the sample size is less than 10% of the population size, and checking for normality. Again, seeing that, making sure that we expect at least 10 successes and 10 failures. Let's do an example having to do with those potato chips that we talked about earlier. All right. Says a potato chip producer just received a truckload of potatoes from its main supplier. If the producer determines that more than 8% of the potatoes in the shipment have blemishes, the truck will be sent away for another load. The supervisor selects 500 potatoes from the truck randomly. The inspect then reveals 47 of the potatoes have blemishes. Carry out the significance test at the alpha value zero point 0.1. What should the producer conclude? All right. So first of all, let's talk about our population, as this is an inference procedure. Our population is the potatoes on the truck. What is the parameter of interest in this case? And this would be the proportion or true proportion with blemishes. What's the H naught claim? That we're okay at 8%. What are we trying to prove? That we actually think that there's greater than 8% with blemishes, and we should probably think about sending them away. And here's where we're going to say we declare our alpha value to be 10%, 0.10. What's our plan? Well, our plan is to do the method called the z-test for population proportion. And we have to meet the conditions. So are we unbiased? Well, sample was said to be random, so give ourselves a check mark. We meet that condition. Do we have independence? Well, n, in this case, is 500. Is that less than 1/10 the population size? I'm going to say yes. It is safe to assume the truck has more than 5,000 potatoes. Right? Normal. We are going to ask the question, is n times p, which is 500 times 0.08, which is 40, is that greater than or equal to 10? It is. And what about n times 1 minus p, which is 500 times 1 minus 0.08? Well, that's got to be all the other potatoes, 460, and that's greater than or equal to 10. We have met all of the conditions. So let's go ahead to the do step where we do our calculations. A couple of things that we're going to need to do is, first of all, we're going to have to find out what that p-value is. So what is the p-value for 47 out of 500? And if we, again, switch over to Desmos, go ahead and say, all right, I need to know 47 out of 500, and it's 0.094. Let me put that down. 0.094. All right. The z value that we said we're going to calculate, which again is the p hat value minus the p naught value over the square root of p naught, 1 minus p naught over n, or in this case, 0.094 minus, and remember the p naught value is right there, 0.08 divided by the square root of p naught, 0.08, 1 minus 0.08, all over 500. And let's go ahead, put this over to the other side. And actually, I want to do this. I'm going to take this to there, and then I can do that calculation over here. I'm going to hit the division sign, 0.094 minus 0.08. Then go ahead and do the squirt division sign, 0.08 times 1 minus 0.08, all divided by 500. All right, and that gives us the z value that we were interested in. The z value is 1.15, and we'll limit that z value to 2 decimal places. Now, for the calculation of the p-value. The p-value is what's the probability that z, and here we go over to the H0 claim and steal that directional arrow, is greater than 1.15. Of course, when we do that, using the normal distribution, normal with 0, 1, and we do want the cumulative probability, but this time we want the right tail, and we want it having to do with the z value 1.15, and we get 0.125. I want one more decimal place, 1251. And now we are done with the calculation step. So let's go ahead and take that p-value that we just calculated and interpret it in context. Because the p-value of 0.1251 is greater than the alpha value of 10%. See, that means the p-value is high. We fail to reject H0. Now let's interpret it in context. That means there is insufficient evidence to suggest the true proportion, and let's say of now our population of potatoes on the truck, that, now let's mention what we're measuring, have blemishes is greater than 0.08. And that concludes our four-step process. All right. So we see the similarities to the confidence interval stuff. We see that the calculation part is different, and certainly the interpretation stuff is different as well. All right. And that is where we end this lecture.